Do I need my book?
Hi there.
Hi.
I'm Penny Lee Deer, and I'm here with Christine Rose Hazuka, and we are recording this for the purpose of the Loudonville Neighborhood Magazine in conjunction with Arts for Vets for Heather, who is the editor and the interviewer. And we'll pass this on to her so that she can abstract what she wishes from this interview. Um, so I wrote down some things, Christine. And I started with 2016 and before. Um, and
Okay.
I wrote down a bunch of stuff that I'm familiar with what you did, but by all means, you chime in if there's something that you would like to um, mention. You and I and Felix actually got to know each other. You knew him long before you knew me. We got to know each other when we went to Tuesday meetings at the military. It's called the MEP, MAT, that, and that's Material Art Therapy. Can you talk a little bit about that program?
Yes, it was manual arts therapy, and it was very good. It was Charlie um, and Dave, and they treated us so good. I learned a lot of things. How to use a drill and my first drawing, actual drawing. I never knew I could draw. Uh, but Dave kept saying, "Here, take this picture here and see what you can do with it." So I like that. And he'd come around. He says, "Try a little bit like this, and you guide me." And by the end of the picture, it was like, "Hey, this ain't bad." And of course, being with other vets, and kind of helping each other. Um, Felix was always building something. He had a vise that he used a lot, and it was cool. And there was Tony, and then you came in, and Erica came in. So just meeting other vets,
Mhm.
didn't matter what service we were in. We were all like family
So,
there.
so when you
And
said
then,
Felix did the vice, you mean with wood products?
yes, yes, he loved wood. Yeah.
So it was a wood shop.
Well, it was all in one room. I mean, they had like books and books here of things you could do. They had kits to put together. Um, I think that's where Felix made that yellow wooden truck. If you remember that one,
Right.
he
So they
made
had to have a saw there, though.
yeah, he had a saw and sanding and stuff like that, little drills.
Okay.
And
And they used to have a kiln there, correct? Ceramics?
yes, yes.
How long ago
This
was that?
that was probably a couple of years before we went to MAT. It was in another room, and it was great. I mean, ceramics. That it was a lot of fun, and I believe her name was Sue. She was real nice, but I guess somebody complained about the smell. So that was the beginning of the end. They took the kiln out. So that was the end of the ceramics. Um,
Okay.
and then MAT lasted for quite a while, and then Dave was going to retire. Uh, and then we went into the other room where they had the writing, and we all were getting very upset. And then all of a sudden we were discharged. Boom. That was the end,
Right. That
out of
was in
nowhere.
January 2016.
Right, right.
And the reason they said that was because we had done our 12-week sessions, and that's all you were entitled to, that we were cured. Okay, so
Right.
but there was other programs that you and I were in, actually, the Vets of Albany Choir. Can you talk about that?
Oh yeah. Yeah, matter of fact, I just saw her the other day. Pastor Nick was there. Like they were doing a suicide prevention uh, doings with a bugle and everything. It was nice. But of course, I missed it. I had to go home. But anyway, the choir was wonderful. It started out just as therapy. We didn't know what we were getting into, but once we got going, it was beautiful. I mean, we were taught how to harmonize together and, how to read some notes and all like that. which I had a musical background, but I had forgotten, a lot. But anyway, we got to go places. We went to other churches. We went to senior groups to perform in front of them, and
Mhm.
it was a very proud feeling to belong to
We
that
act-
Albany choir.
we actually developed the whole program. We selected what songs was sung every
Mhm.
year. And then
Right.
we did little skits like drama, little fun stuff.
Yeah, we sure
Yeah.
did.
You actually played some instruments. Can you tell me what those were?
Oh yeah, long before service, belonged to bugle drum corps in Queens, New York, and I played the bugle, and that's where we learned to march. We had a real good instructor, uh, and then from like 6 years old, I picked up on piano at a very even younger than that. I'd hear something on the radio and I'd go play it. Anyway, my mother had to get a piano because every time I went to church or Masons or anything to do with my folks, I'd find a piano and I'd sit down and play. And so Ma got a piano and I started lessons when I was, I think, 7. And my teacher was fantastic. She taught me so much. And I had a good ear for music. I used to memorize the piece and just play it. But anyway, I was
Right,
piano.
you do
I
not
picked up
read music
accordion.
correctly. You do not
Pardon?
read music. You do not read music, correct? You just listen and
Oh
play
yeah.
it back.
No, I can read music. I
Okay,
used
good.
to write I used to write my own music.
Okay, back to the Vets of Albany Choir. You played, was it the Dobo?
No, it was melodica. Melodica. I
Well, you
still
did
have
that,
it.
but
It's
there was
hanging on.
also a guitar that was on your lap.
Oh, that was later on. Yeah, I never got
And
the
what's
hang of
that
it.
called? What is that? It's
Dulcimer.
not
A dulcimer.
Dulcimer and then the Melodeon. Is that what
Melodica.
you said? Okay, good.
Melodica.
Good. All right. But then there was another group that we were in was the Bell Choir. Can you tell us about that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was another therapy group run by the same woman, Rochelle. And it was beautiful. And I loved it because the one day we all had a bell, maybe 2 bells, and she would point to us, and you would just let it ring instead of stopping it, and the whole room just like, wow, it was like almost sacred. You know what I mean? It was
Mm-hmm.
like beautiful,
Yep.
beautiful.
Yeah, they're actually chimes. Okay, so what were those oversized bells that you had? Were they brass? They were
Oversized what?
huge. You were assigned special bells. They were huge.
Oh,
Was
the
it
bass. Yeah,
the
bass
base?
bells. Yeah.
And how
Hmm.
many would have those have been? How many different ones?
I think there was. I think there was 5. I'm not sure.
Okay. Like for instance, I had the Fs and I had 4 Fs.
Oh, I don't remember which ones I had. I don't remember now.
Well, I
My
was just
memory is
curious.
very short term.
Okay. All right, great. So let me see what else I wrote down here. So you mentioned we wrote on Tuesday morning, we wrote, correct? Is that what you're saying? Wrote?
Me in a group, you mean?
Mm-hmm.
At the VA?
Well, yes, but then I'm gonna transition to Arts for Vets.
Right, right. Yeah. It's
We
hard. It's hard to think back at the VA because it's such a bad time. Um, I mean, we had a good time, but it was a bad time because we, got
Okay, so
pushed
let's
out.
just transition to writing within Arts for Vets, and you've been published in Veterans Voices magazine.
Oh yeah, quite a few
And
times.
quite a few
Proud to
times,
say.
correct. And now
Yeah.
how do you know that you've been published?
Oh, they send you a letter. I've even gotten money from them. They sent me a
You
check.
actually receive a magazine that
Yeah,
comes.
we got a magazine. Every time you get something published, you get a magazine for free. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I was really proud of that. Like, wow. you know?
Mhm.
It's fun to read somebody else's writings too, the other vets. You've written quite a few yourself.
Absolutely.
Right,
And those magazines go to every VA hospital in the nation. So a lot of people read
Right.
our writings.
right.
Okay, so the next thing I have on my list, before we go on, is there something we talked about already that you want a little emphasize on before we move on to the next subject?
Well, I wanted to say, with our Art for Vets, I liked it because you would pick a subject, or one of us would pick a subject, and that's what we would write about. And it's kind of odd to some of us were in tune with each other. We'd write almost the same kind of words, and then somebody else would have a complete different outlook on it and come up with this. And because of all these things, um, I took some of my writings and I wrote my own book. Um,
Right, and we're actually going to provide, well, you're going to bring in your book, but I'm hoping to get a copy for Heather to look. Right now, Terry can't find her copy, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. But anyway, so yes, we want to, I've tried to share it on a PDF, and for whatever reason, it's not letting me share, probably privacy or something. Well, anyway, so let's move on to another subject is, in Arts for Vets, we teach each other different skills that we have. Can you tell us a little bit about I call it the no brush painting that you instructed?
oh yeah, that was here not too long ago, I guess. Yeah, I just take a blank canvas and I just have fun. I get into it, I guess you'd say. Instead of using a brush right away, um, I use my hand. I use paper towel, wad it up, and I just drop some color on the board on the canvas, and just kind of mash it in whatever shape arises. That's where I get an idea of what I'm going to do. I don't, necessarily have to have a picture to go by or anything. It comes out of my head. It's kind of weird, but it's fun, and I
Okay, great.
enjoyed sharing it with the group.
Excellent. I actually did send your outline, your what you had for the group to Heather, so she can look at it and see what you're talking about, so she has a reference. Do you remember any other classes that you've taught?
Mm,
Okay.
I can't remember. I don't think so.
That I didn't have any other written down. I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything. Okay, so
I know Heather would she would give subjects too to sometimes we'd write about it, sometimes we'd draw. She would give like a straight line. We had to make something out of that. First thing came
yes,
to our head. That was cool too.
so those are prompts, and Heather is our art therapist.
Right, right.
So she's actually a certified therapist, and we
Hmm.
also bring in music therapy
Right.
certified. And we had Connor. And
Yeah.
can you comment any about the music therapy that was provided by Music Speak?
Yeah. Um, it was short lived, but I enjoyed every minute of it. He had us perform. I remember we performed over in Troy, right? At that
Correct.
senior center over there. Yeah. And I remember I got mad because some of the people were not paying attention, but it worked out okay. Uh, but Connor, he taught us quite a bit, some different things, um, and how, he pulled out some solos out of a couple, the girl there. Um, it was beautiful. And we got recorded, people actually recorded us.
Yep,
So
correct.
it
So
was
you said
nice.
it was short-lived. So what that means, they
Yeah,
come in 6-week increments, and we did 2 of them, just to let you know. And then the
right.
other thing we did just recently was more, it was with Hannah, and I think you were mainly on Zoom for that one. Hannah,
Yeah.
and some of us attempted to write our own songs. But you mentioned before that you have written songs in the past. You have?
Oh, when I was a kid, yeah, sure did.
Do you
When I was a
have any of
teenager,
them?
sure did. No,
No.
no, they're long gone. Um, Probably burned, you know. Yeah.
Okay. One of the things that I wasn't sure if you did or not, does this sound familiar to you? It was an art show that was out by where the horses were. It wasn't on the same farm, but it was called Landscape for Land's Sake. It was in a barn. Do
I
you
remember
remember
that.
that?
Yeah, I
I
do.
believe Felix, you and I went. Do you remember
Yes, we
anything
did.
about it?
There was another guy that went too. He's dropped out since, but he
Oh,
used to be
Steve.
one of our members. Steve,
Steve.
yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that's actually at Act Naturally. I was there was another one just down the road in Greenwich, but that's okay. That's I agree. I do have those.
Mhm,
I've shared those art. It was an art show for a fundraiser that they had out there. Great.
mhm. We put
Um,
things in the auction too.
what's that?
We made up a basket with things for the auction. Right.
Yep.
hmm
Okay, and I have horses down here. Can you tell me about the different horse programs you've been to?
Okay, I'm bad with names, but I know one. I remember the big red barn, and I remember the horse looking out. What a beautiful picture! I got a lot of pictures of that. Um,
That's the
but
one where we had
we
an art.
learned.
That's the one where the
Pardon?
art station, there was photography and there was kayaking, correct? With Tiffany?
Uh,
We went,
no,
you went down by the
thinking of
river
no.
with,
Yeah, I remember
what?
the kayaking. Uh, One we painted stones, and
Correct,
that's
that's
the
the
one
same
we went
location,
kayaking afterwards.
correct. And then
And
we
then,
did
but the other one was the
photography.
red. The other one was the big red barn.
It's the same location, Tiffany's.
No, no, the one I'm thinking of is not. I, oh, I can't think. Tap it. No. I know we
Ravenwood,
learned. We groomed the horses and things,
correct. We went there twice.
and then there was one, a different one, where there was actually like an arena.
That's
So I
Act
remember
Now,
Sandy brought her son, and
correct.
we walked around the ring. We had before we even touched the horse, even we were around we had a nice lead up to it outside. We all sat in the sun and had coffee, and they told us about parts of the anatomy of the horse and what to do, not to go right towards him, to come up on his side. Anyway, we were taught how to touch a horse and how to be around him before he knew you, and it
Good,
was beautiful.
good.
It's like by the end of the day, you felt like that horse loved you. It was like,
Mhm.
wow, what a feeling.
Yep, good. So you use
Gave me
photography a
confidence.
lot and you go on outings. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, we used to go here all over. We went to Tulip Festival the day after and took pictures together. And went down to the river several times, down the Hudson River. Uh,
That's with Denise, yes?
well, with Felix.
Okay. Denise,
Yeah, we went
Felix,
with
you,
Felix. Yeah,
me, different, but they're all like photography opportunities.
right. And then you and Felix did a lot with the garden at Felix's farm there.
Hmm.
I remember you planted a garden. I got to go a few times, but I wasn't able to climb the hills and bend and all like that like you guys did. But I sure enjoyed it. Of course, I took pictures more than anything while you guys were working.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but
That's
fantastic.
actually a really nice lead in. Um, One of the things I wrote down was we all have limitations, and one of the things that Denise does is a seated Tai Chi or Qigong. It's kind of a
hmm
movement. Can you talk about that a
Right.
little bit?
hmm Yes. If you're able to, you can stand, but you can also sit and do the qigong, and it's very relaxing. It helps you with your breathing, helps you with your posture. It just makes you feel good, if you stick with it. Um, I don't do too much on my own because I can't remember, but I enjoyed it when Denise gave the classes. Yeah, I even
Okay.
tried on the outside world. I went to a one class. It wasn't Qigong, it was the other one, Tai Chi, I think it was.
Mhm.
And I really liked it. Yeah,
Yeah. So
very healthy.
there's one last thing that I have, and then if there's anything else you'd like to add, is currently you're not able to drive, and transportation is a problem for a lot of our members. And so
Right.
I would like to emphasize to Heather to put into the article that we're always looking for volunteers, but specifically to provide transportation to the veterans so that they could come to the community events.
Right.
So I'm going to give you a
So,
moment. Think about what else we should talk about to make sure that it gets into the article.
well, we're always looking for new ideas. Because we follow the same plan usually. We still do well. We haven't done writing together in quite a while. With the subject, but anyway, like I found out about this Breezy Lawn farm down here in Cooksaki, which I could probably get to because I think I could drive that far.
Well, I'm glad you
Um,
mentioned that actually,
but
because
then
it's looking in for October on Thursday mornings at 10 o'clock is what we're shooting for.
okay,
So that's one more horse program available for veterans,
right,
Kasaki.
right.
And it's Breezy Lawn Acres.
Oh, I thought it was Breezy Lawn Farm. Okay, all right.
Well, no, it might be farm. Heather has the link. I can tell you that. And
Good.
she's actually going to chat with them, or she has the opportunity to chat with any of these programs. She's got that contact information. Okay,
Okay.
so I
Speaking
can.
of Heather, I'm sorry, I forgot to mention. Heather invites us every year, and I'm really proud to say I was part of it too. Is Color the Canal. I
Can you
thought that
talk
was
about?
fantastic. We all got a big poster. We could paint anything we wanted, anything. Didn't matter what theme you used. And she takes them and puts them up, and they stay up. I think year round. Um, she sprays them with some kind of stuff that preserves them, so they take a beating. But I guess they're still up there. I've never had a chance to go. I really would like to go someday and see this. Because I never see that part of the river,
You've
And
never been.
pardon, I've
You've
never
never.
been to I've never been to the ceremony with the Color Canal. I'd like to go, because it looks like a lot of fun, you know. And anything to do with the river, I like anyway.
Mhm. Yeah, this is the Mohawk River, and it's along the Erie Canal that goes 600 miles. We just have a small section of it right in
Right.
this area, Rotterdam area. Lock 8 is where ours was originally. She said that some of the birdhouses that we did this year will be at a different location.
Right. And
I
I'd
think
like
there's
to put in for a birdhouse next year. If you do it again, I'd like to get a birdhouse.
what the situation was. You had to physically be there
Oh, oh,
at the event. That was the issue.
okay,
Okay,
okay.
so I'm good. Are you good? If there's anything else before I stop the recording, and then I'll once I get it, I'll send you a copy actually, so you can see yourself,
Oh,
and
God.
I'll send it to Heather. Does that sound good?
Okay. Sounds good. I know we're forgetting something.
Well,
Uh,
what you can do is once you remember afterwards, just write it up and put it in an email. It's not a
okay.
problem.
What about that cafe you used to go to?
Eden Cafe.
Yes, Eden Cafe. I know we should mention that maybe, and the people that
What?
were involved there maybe.
So tell me
Um,
about it.
well, I only got to go during the daytime. We had lunch there several times, and
So you
we
weren't
got
there
to
for the
hear.
open mic?
No, no, never
We
was
actually
there.
did a 3-hour presentation
Right.
during
I got to
COVID.
watch it on. Yeah, it was during COVID, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
it was recorded,
I
correct.
think,
Yeah, that's a good idea. I'll send that to her too. Good
yeah,
idea.
because that was on Zoom for us people that couldn't get there, you know?
Correct. That was a lot of work. 3 hours of sharing other people's pieces of writing or drama, songs, things like that. Yep.
Mhm. What about Heather, getting together with Heather, for the yearly thing too, the annual, Create Studios, where our art was
Mhm.
all hung up and everything, and we got to talk and everything?
That's it. Every November, we have an annual art show at Create Community Studios, the month of
Right.
November.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was kind of cool too. We got to
Last
meet different
year,
people.
last year we went to the Veterans Artist Showcase, and I got an email this morning that says they're not having it this year.
Mm.
So I knew that the group as a whole wasn't going to do it, but they're not doing it at all. Just to let you know. Do you remember the Hyde Park and
Yes,
yeah,
that
so
was pretty cool too. Yeah,
yeah. And then
right.
this year was the first time that we went to Genesee Council's art. That was the
Mhm.
other thing, and we talked briefly about United Us.
Oh yeah, I forgot about it. Yeah, yeah. How can I forget that? Yeah, this is big time. I mean, this is Washington. Wow. These two girls, I tell you, one is a vet. Um, she took us in and collected our art. They even came up here and grabbed our art and took it to Washington with them. And it's been in the museum down there. It's been at the airport down there. I mean, wow. I mean, the ceremony for um, uh, my mind don't think. What was the ceremony where we painted the
Oh,
white rose?
it was the military memorial.
The unknown soldier? Was that what it
Yeah,
was?
well,
Yeah,
that was one of the events, but there's actually a memorial for women veterans down at Arlington, and that's
right.
where it was. And we had over 100 pieces of art and over 20 veterans and friends and family that submitted their art for that particular thing. And then what you're talking about is for the centennial of the Tomb of the Unknown
Mhm.
Soldier, we all did white roses or poppies,
Right,
some type of military flower.
right, right,
Yep. And that was with the organization known as unitingus.org.
right. Yeah, that
Okay,
was
I think this is a good stopping spot. If there's other things, don't worry about it. Just email it and I'll make sure that Heather gets the information. Okay.
okay. Okay,
I'm going to stop recording at this time.
okay. Well, thank you very much, Penny.
You're quite welcome.